Welcome to the StockMentor.com studios here in the Black Hills of South Dakota. I'm your stock mentor, Brian Johnson, making professional trading simple. Today we had a very abrupt move. We had a gap up, move back down, finished the day up. Dow being the strongest today, up 1.5%. Odd to see it up over some of the other ones. We haven't seen that in a little while. But anyway, on the chart, you can take a look here and see what the Dow has done. From a 60-minute charting standpoint, it's really been good trading. If you've been intraday trading off of the 60-minute, you can see how we bounced off this lower line here, came up to retest the 20 period, move back down from there, get up above it, retest it and hold, and move back up to the 50. So it's been very clean in its moves from one point of resistance to the other. You can see how we tapped the upper channel line here. I love TA. Very easy to track it when it does stuff like this. So now I'm ultimately, if I'm going to take a trade on the Dow, I'm really looking for a move now over this 10-150 area. I want to get out and above this overhead channel line. Above that, 10-250. 10-200, 10-250, 10-300. There's going to be resistance, should be resistance at some of those places on the way up. So you'll have to protect these moves as we go. But I would say the higher levels are going to be 10-250. Ultimately, over 10-300 gives us a really good opportunity at maybe some more sustained bullishness in the markets. Right now, the move has been up, but kind of anemic, kind of a weak move to the upside. I like to see the bulls put a little bit more pressure on here if we want to see anything move upwards in the shorter term. Here on the daily, look at this channel line or trend line that I drew here and how well it's holding. Love to see this. This is holding very, very nicely. Got a tap of it today. Also, in reference to the 60 minutes, so I like to see the 60 minute and the daily kind of showing me the same thing. And once again, up above 10-150 kind of gets us above this little blue line here. That's also a good reason to get long. Not strong, long. Just a nice defensible long play that you can, I would use for at least an intraday trade. But if you saw sustained movement in the markets, once you got up and above this line, certainly wouldn't be afraid to hold overnight. I really would like to see, like I said, a move above 10-300, but above 10-150 might be a good start to a bigger move here. So watch these particular lines here. We did have that huge hammer, got a move to the downside on Monday, now move to the upside on Tuesday. Overall, it's just sideways action. This 10, I guess about 10-100 area, if you want to call it that, is really giving us a lot of overhead resistance here. So I want to get up over that 10-150 area before we start looking at maybe a more sizable move in the markets. So 10-150 on the Dow is what I'm looking at. NASDAQ on a 60, up 1% today. But still, and all of the markets are showing us, if you look at these moves to the upside, just no real power behind them. We're not seeing the big sweeping white candles that we saw in the past. We're seeing a big white candle and now just a bunch of chop. That is not bullish action. We want to see those big white candles come back into the market before we get more serious about any moves to the upside. Keep that in mind as we move forward. Right now, it's just weak. It's just weak. It's like, okay, all right, I'll go up, but only because you're making me. God, I just don't. I don't want to go up. I just don't want to do it. And that's the way this feels if you watch the market action the last couple days. Regardless, market action's up. We do have a break above this trend line I have drawn in here and a close on or just above this particular line here. Still would like a little bit more move to the upside in the NASDAQ to kind of confirm this, and that would be above 1780, 1790 or so before we see that in the NASDAQ. But this might be the start of it. Maybe we see some sustained pressure come in. This was a good move by the NASDAQ. Had the big hammer candle, sideways kind of movement here, looking for a break below here to maybe get a little bit bearish on it. Not to happen today. Putting in a big doji candle here. So we're looking for a sustained move to the upside. Get above that 1790, you're in much better shape. That's a good conservative place to get long. From a weekly standpoint, it is only Tuesday. So give me a couple more days before we start talking about weekly candles. SPX on a 60-minute. Same thing. Move to the upside, but right into this overhead resistance. Look how well I was mentioning getting long over, like the 1075 area. ultimately 1085 is really where I wanted to get long. And today the high was 1079. So if you took a trade over 1075, had to be careful. By the end of the day, we had kind of moved our way back down. If you're holding overnight, boy, I'd be really careful doing that. The risk overall is still to the upside here. This is not a strong move. I want to see big white candles. I'm not getting them. And these little choppy. I mean, the market just it's not healthy right here. So you want to see a bigger move, ultimately above 1085. That'd be a good start. Then if we get up and over 1105, we're in great shape from the bull standpoint. But that's a long ways to go, and we're just not making any real headway right now. So continue to watch these overhead levels. 1075 holding very nicely today, and 1080 is still a level we've got to get over before we break out of this channel that we're in right now. So be watching those levels moving forward. Above 1080, okay, start to look. Above 1085, yeah, that's a little bit more defensible place to get long. Otherwise, below this 1060 area, 1065, I'd say 1060 area, would be probably a point to start looking at maybe getting short this market again. Below 1055, yes, you could probably take a defensible short there. May be able to see this lower channel line, which would again coincide with probably this low down here at 1044, 1045-ish. Break below 1040 would really take us, I think, to some lower degrees, back to this 1030, 1020 area I've been talking about for a while. So here you can see the move up on the daily, but not able to get back in this channel. This channel line still holding on a closing basis. We did poke above it today, but we did not close above it today. So I'm looking for a close back in this area and ultimately above that 1085 to get a little bit more bullish on the markets. SPX on a weekly, once again Tuesday. We'll see where that is come Thursday. VIX on a daily, flat. Fear's been coming into the market, but now it's just kind of flattened out again. Still, the markets are unclear as to where they want to go in the near term. So we'll continue to watch the VIX. I like to watch the VIX because I do play options, and I like to see where the options players are going. And I like to see this as confirmation. If the markets move up, I love to see the VIX come down. So we'll see if this can confirm one another as we push forward. You can see there is this overhead resistance on the VIX giving it trouble. I still think anything from 30 to about 35 is probably a little bit over bought at the moment, and so we might be looking at the VIX coming back down if we hit these 30 to 35 point areas. When we do, what that equates to me basically is if we get in between 30 and 35 on the VIX, I'm going to start looking for a potential market reversal at that time. I'm going to be looking very closely at a potential market reversal and be ready for that, be poised for that. Apple on a 60-minute was up $2 today, but hitting this overhead resistance